Welcome to the Business Spotlight Podcast. My name is David Beeson. I'm your host for today's conversation. My guest today is Trisha Hendrickson, the owner of Moxie360 Marketing. We're going to be talking about her business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Trisha, welcome to the show and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Sure, absolutely. Again, Trish Hendrickson with Moxie360 Marketing. Really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on as your guest. I have about 35 years of marketing experience under my belt and moved to Austin, Texas area about 4.5 years ago. Started Moxie about 4 years ago. We'll be celebrating our 4-year anniversary actually in February. So we're a full service marketing agency. Probably easier for me to tell you what we don't do, like we don't do TikTok. um, than everything that we do. So yeah, we really pride ourselves on being cutting edge with what's happening in marketing. Have a young, really exciting, smart team. So that's one of the things that sets us apart.
Awesome. Congrats on 4 years, by the way. That's a huge accomplishment. That's
Thank you.
awesome. So kind of like generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Just kind of setting the stage for the audience. Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have outside investors, business partner?
No, I funded starting Moxie on my own. So I am the sole owner at this point. In all honesty, I'm working myself eventually out of the business, so that others can take it over. At one point I do want to retire. So I'm building it to have someone on my team who actually already wants it. And so we have been building it for her to take over. I'll stay involved, but yeah, so I've got a crew of 11 right now,
Awesome.
but I am the sole owner right now, set up as a S corp.
Cool, cool. So what kind of role do you currently play in the business? Like what's a day in the life of Trisha?
Well, in all honesty, my business coach Andy is helping me redefine that because up until July of last year, I think Trish wore every single hat in the business. And so when we sat down and had this conversation, and he would be like, okay, who does this and who does this and who does this? And it was like Trish, 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 all the way down the line. And so now what I'm doing is really working on the business. Um, and then, of course, what I'm doing in the business is client contact, sales, speaking gigs, those types of things. I hesitate to call it sales because a lot of times it's education, and then people make the decision from there. But so that is my role, and then running and then working on the business. But now we have a structure in place that where everybody has their very defined roles within the business, and so it's getting me out of the minutia. So I have no plans to ever build a website again in my life personally, even though I can.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So when you look at your role and and you say that you're kind of trying to spend more time on the business rather than in the business. Currently right now, especially after getting business coaching, how many hours would you say you're spending working on the business a week and how many in the business a week right now?
I'm still weighted in the business more than on the business, but I'm working on that. So I've set aside, excuse me, about 6 to 8 hours a week to work on the business.
Awesome, awesome.
And
Uh,
if I turned my camera and went over here, there's a whole entire wall of like with sticky notes and things like that. And because there's nothing more that makes me more satisfied than to put an X through something that we did. So, but
yeah,
that's all the business planning right there.
nice, nice. And how has business coaching helped change 360 Moxie 360 marketing? Has it helped a lot?
It has. I was pretty hesitant to start. My ex-husband and I owned a business for several years together, almost 30 years together. We owned a business, and, it was extremely successful. And so I was a bit hesitant and to give it a whirl. I'm like, okay. But I know Andy and Jody, they were friends before I started working with them. And actually I think that helped my comfort level just because, I know them, I trust them, I believe in them, I see what they've done for other people. So it was easier for me to make that decision with them, but it has made a really big difference. And honestly, I'm still really working through it because I've been at this like 6 months with them. And sometimes Andy will say things and I'm like, what? And there's also reminders that I need. This morning we had a great conversation. We talk to our clients about KPIs all the time. We work on
Yeah.
their KPIs. We do this. We create these massive spreadsheets. And he's like, what are yours?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's
You
something that a lot of
know?
businesses don't think about a lot. It's like I'm doing all this stuff for other people, but now it's like, oh wait, now I need to do it for me. Like I work a lot in marketing as well. And it's like I'll do marketing for like other companies. I'll make social media posts. I'll do the video content. I'll do the editing. And then it's like, wait, I haven't done any marketing for myself to make sure that I can find my clients right now.
Yeah. And I did get some praise this morning. So we have a master client spreadsheet. And Andy's like, okay, good, good, good. And I go, Andy, wait a second, wait a second. Look at who's number one on there. So number one on the client spreadsheet was Moxie360 Marketing.
Nice, nice.
So, we literally added ourselves into the spreadsheet because we don't want to forget. And
Yeah.
how many stories have we all heard of this, right? Like marketing agencies are just as guilty as anybody else, right? Like had the automotive repair shop for years, and I can't tell you how many years I drove around with an engine light on. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think at one point my ex put like a you know, please piece of black tape over it. I'm like, I know it's still there.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're not going to break down, but when you've got paying client customers over here, and whatnot, it's easy for us to let ours go by the wayside. So I did just say to my team this week, hey, listen, because they all have access to my schedule, and I said, when you see that I'm working on the business, please don't grab that time. That's like I need that time. And so, but it's not them that's the problem. It's me. I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, if that's the only time I can meet with a client, I need to grab that time, which is okay, but then I need to make sure to reschedule it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely get you. Um, so why'd you choose to go into business for yourself instead of working for someone else? And what was the transition like for you?
Uh, for me, it was when I moved down here, I moved here from Minnesota and was kind of hitting the restart button on life, to be perfectly honest with you, and was working for a startup fintech company down here, and it just wasn't a fit. I'm very used to working with a lot of autonomy and being results driven and showing those things. And so I had decided that I was going to give it a little bit more time, do some research on starting up my own business, and actually ended up quitting the next week because it just wasn't a culture fit.
Yeah.
Um, and so, at that point, I was like, well, here we go. And so I quit, and the very next week, I had my first client. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm just going to trust you, God. Here we go.
Yeah.
And so when I started, I was like, all right, I need to figure out the things that I can do and the things I can't do. And so, as long as I've been in marketing and everything, I am not a graphic designer. I mean, we have
Yeah.
great tools, even like Canva right now. I guarantee you, my 6-year-old grandson could make something better on Canva. I'm like, look at you, buddy. You're so good. And I'd be like, I don't know, but I have an eye for it. It's just not, what it is. So I filled in the gaps with where I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
And then we've just grown from there.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Um, so who primarily does your business serve? I assume that it's other companies and marketing for them. Like if I was in the audience, how would I know I was a good fit for your product and service?
Yeah, so we are actually industry agnostic. And, I think there's arguments both ways, right? If we wanted to niche down and only focus on, a couple of different areas. And there's many marketing agencies that do that, right? But we are industry agnostic. And I think one of the advantages of that is that we have to do our research more.
Yeah.
So we're just not a rinse and repeat because what we do for pest control companies is very different than what we do for the attorneys that we work for, right?
Hmm.
And so we do B2C, business to consumer. We work with that. We have e-com sites. We do all of those. And then we also have B2B sites that we work with. So, and not just sites, I shouldn't say businesses that focus on that. And those are pretty different as far as the approach that we take. Now, there are definitely things across the board that have, that we're like, hey, these are the things that we recommend, right? But if you are a global business that's, and there's a lot of this in Austin, right? There's a lot of startups that are trying to do, software and different, all different kinds of things. Their approach to that is different than the local plumber who really needs to have, a concentration on local services.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense.
So,
Um,
yeah, and we really truly have clients in so many different industries. Um, and we have the tools that help us to know, right, what it is that we need to do. But
yeah,
then I developed the strategy. So I'm still um, on our team. I'm still the one that develops the strategy, and then our team executes on it.
gotcha, gotcha. This is always kind of a fun question I like to ask. What is one thing you wish more people knew about your business?
I wish more people knew that we do the fractional CMO, right? We are the fractional. So I'm a fractional CMO, I think, for 8 companies right now. And that's where we go in and do the full strategy. And then so that is one of the things that sets us apart, in all honesty. We've got the fractional CM over here, the side of it, that if they have a team in place and all they want is us to develop their strategy and do it as a project, as a one-off, great, we can do that. But then over here we have the services end of it. So we have a lot of clients that come in and use both, right? So under that umbrella of Moxie360 Marketing, you get the full strategy, and then we have our whole entire line of services over here. Well, we don't create strict SOWs at all, right? So,
Yeah.
and our contracts start at 90 days. And so, they go from there. But would we like to have longer contracts? Sure. But let's make sure we're a fit. And let's make sure
Yeah.
we're getting you some ROI. And let's make sure, all of that. And when I say a fit, that goes both ways, right? Because I've had, former clients want me to do things that I'm like, no, that's actually ethically not okay. And so I don't think that we're a fit. But, so then in here, so when we develop the strategy, we say, okay, this is what we're going to start with the initial strategy with these 5 things. Well, once, like for example, once we get your Google Business Profile, we do that one time, really deep dive refresh on it. That, even though we continue to work on it, that initial time that was spent on that now can be moved into, some other services. And so, but we're able to pivot and be really, really flexible with what we can do
Yeah.
as far as that. Because here's what happens. We can develop a strategy today that works for next month, but March may change. Remember March of 2020 when everything
Hmm.
changed,
Yep. Yep.
And so we're able to really do that. And we want to work with our clients and, find what works because again, I mean, like, gosh, I hope we never have a world pandemic again, but that changed everything and everybody had to stop and everybody hates the word pivot because of it. And I agree. But, I was the CMO at a law firm at the time. And all of a sudden it was just like, whoo, even though we're
Yeah.
essential and, but we're all working at home, but, doing business development and marketing for them, all the business development stuff that I was out doing, all of that in-person stuff came to a grinding halt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes sense. Um, sorry. Um, Actually kind of pivoting to marketing, funny enough. I'm curious, what successful marketing strategies do y'all have in place for yourselves? What are the things that are working the best?
Oh, yeah, for us, honestly, for us, the biggest thing is me doing things like this.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, here I am, with the marketing agency and we get great results for our clients and everything. And this is where it depends. I mean, we have a website but we drive most of the traffic to it. I don't know if we've ever, in all honesty, had somebody be like, well, I found your website and I want to have a conversation. It's word of mouth. It's getting out there. It's doing speaking things. I speak for SCORE. I work with the local chambers. Um, I go to conferences. I've gone to conferences literally all over the country and do those things. And then we also use our tools that we have for business development and lead generation. So we do a lot of that as well.
Awesome, awesome.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I'm curious, what percentage of your monthly sales typically is invested back into your marketing budget?
So we invest about 10% back into our
Gotcha.
marketing
That's good.
budget. Yeah. We're still in a pretty heavy growth mode. So we're investing about 10% back. Now, remember that, the marketing budget, there's a lot of different things. And we talk to people about this. This isn't
Mhm.
just your money, it's your time,
Yep.
right? And so it's your talent. And so that's, when I say that, I mean, I'm compensating our team for putting things that, we do backlinking strategies and SEO and AEO and social media, and we do all of those spokes on the wheel for us as well. And then we have some outside things that we do as well. We sponsor events, we'll do various things like that. We aren't at this point doing Google Ads, even though we run very successful ad campaigns for that. But at currently, and I love this, and we've been extremely blessed that we haven't ever had to do any of those things. Um,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, but we are part of this plan. If you saw over here, there's two particular industries that we're going to kind of take aim at this year. And so we are going to be investing some dollars into doing some warm and cold outreach to those folks.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
We like
Um,
to be the guinea pig too for the tools that we recommend.
oh yeah, I mean that's the best way to do it, right? It's like make sure it works for y'all, and then you can kind of push it for some other people.
Uh-huh, right.
Um, so kind of transitioning also to team building. How big is the team again?
11.
11 of y'all. Gotcha. And how would you describe your leadership style in business, and has it changed over the years?
I Has it changed over the years? Of course, because I mean, we started, just me, and
Yeah.
then kind of, slowly added to the team. But my business is honestly, I lead with trust. I lead with everybody works at home, right? So
Yeah.
I lead with trust that you're gonna, I mean, of course, I take a look at their work before, we hire on and different things like that. I want to make sure that they're a really good fit with the team. Currently, we're a team of all women, not by design. We just haven't had a man reach out. And I've been extremely blessed that everybody that's on the team has reached out, with exception to one. Um, that we found in the Philippines, because our Filipino help they're amazing for us.
Yeah.
And then they brought on their sister and their friend and whatnot. So there's three in the Philippines currently, but um, people have come to us, and I think it's because they appreciate the culture that they see us doing. So we have team meetings every week, and then certain other, like our web team has their own things. I find education pieces, I find different things like that. But I let them work really quite autonomously,
That's
and it's more performance based. Like, hey, if we see that performance is dropping off, then we have a conversation.
yeah, no, that's awesome. Are y'all looking to expand the team here in 2026, or y'all kind of liking where you're at right now?
I expect that we will. We have some pretty big goals of getting a client a week and having 24 of those be monthly clients. So I expect that we will. I don't know if it's going to be expanding the team as much as it is. We have a couple of part-time people right now on the team who I'd love to see go full-time with us.
Yeah.
Um, we just hired another gal. And she's coming in, and so we're training her up, and that's one of the models that we do too, right? So Olivia is kind of my right hand person, and she was has been with me since she went to George Mason University. She was an intern, and 6 months before she graduated, offered her a job, and I said, and if you don't want to work for me, that's fine, but please tell me now because you're going to be tough to replace. And
Yeah.
she's the one that, we're building up the succession plan for. And so, but as that didn't happen right away, right? Like we wanted to make sure. But as we started bringing people in, what we do is I offer up to them Like now Olivia's got a couple of people working under her, right? But at the
Hmm.
time when we first brought that in, I said, do you want this to be a lateral hire or do you want to manage that person and have them come under, and she was the one that made the decision because I don't want to make that for somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And so now she's got folks under her. So the last person that we hired, I interviewed with her and this, that, and the other. And afterwards, I sent her an email. I said, it's so nice to meet you, but you probably won't see me much.
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm super happy and I want to see you on the team meetings, because I think that's very important. But I really probably won't be working with her a whole heck of a lot because I said, then to Olivia, you take a look at the tasks that you like and the tasks that you don't want to do. And and train her in on those things. And then, and also take a look. I asked the team to do a time management study, which is one of the things I had to do. And what are you spending your time on? And where do we make them, where are you the most efficient? What do you like to do? Where do we have the best, revenue? I mean, like all of those things, as a business should look at those things.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think if you're ready, though, we'll kind of go to a couple rapid fire questions.
Alrighty, I'm ready.
All right. What is the key to success for you?
Honesty.
Honesty. I love that actually. I've been doing this now for about a year and I have never heard honesty. That is a great answer.
Thank you. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, sometimes, we talked about that. Sometimes we hit the mark, sometimes we miss it. And we really want to work and do well for everybody. So I we lead with honesty.
yeah, no, yeah, like I said, I love that. I'm gonna kind of download that one. What is your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Um, don't be afraid to let other people come in and do what you can't,
Yeah,
right? Um, you know, can I fix my toilet? Maybe. Should I? No. Um,
yeah,
and so when I think of that, so again, this is where this was just a really good lesson for me because I just hired somebody to do our books. And I did that because I was like, I was like kind of on the struggle bus with it, even though I did that in my X and I's business. I did the books for us, and things like that, but it's just not and I was like, why am I fighting this for crying out
yeah,
loud? I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm building this business, for success, for succession. So let's get it set up right. Let's get the foundation done. So that's my biggest advice is, to um, let other professionals handle the things and do what you're good at. And if you focus on what you're good at and give those other things to other people, you'll grow.
yeah, yeah. No, makes sense. Um, what is a good book or podcast you're reading or listening to right now?
Um, so I'm a huge Jay Shetty fan with podcasts. Also
Yeah,
Mel Robbins. So I listen to those podcasts. I do start my day. There's a daily prayer podcast that I start my day with every single day. I think it's a fantastic way to start things out. Some of the books that I'm rereading Mel Robbins' Let Them, How to Buy Back Your Time. I'm reading that one, and I think that's going to be really, really great for me as well. And my 2026 goal is to get back into reading for me because I
yeah,
love that for enjoyment. So I spent some time over the holidays and got about three-quarters of a book done, which quite frankly has been a long time since I've done that. So
yeah,
just like murder mysteries.
yeah. I'm a big creative. I write films. I work on films. And I found myself doing so much writing last year and working on my own stuff that I wasn't reading stories or I wasn't watching movies enough. The thing that I love to do, I wasn't actually doing. I was doing the work side of it. So my goal for 2026 is to take my time back as well. And even if it takes a little bit of time away from the writing that I'm doing, I think it's important to still read and watch those movies and do the thing that I enjoy.
Yeah, I do too.
Um,
And I think it's easy, especially when you work at home,
yeah.
right? It's really easy to all of a sudden, I mean, hey, don't tell this to Andy. Don't let him see this piece of it. But last night, I was like looking at what my schedule. was going to be for today, right? And I was like, wait a minute, I thought I had that podcast, I was like, and I'm looking at things, whatever, and realized, oh, it's 12:03 in the morning. So
Hmm.
I was like off a day. So it was like telling me what I had to do today, whatever. And I was like, I better go to bed because I'm going to get in trouble, because, and I say get in trouble. And obviously there's nobody that I'm going to get in trouble with, but I'm like, but it was super easy for me to get sucked into the things that I was doing. And it was for good reason. I was actually working on the business, getting all the financials prepared to send over. But regardless, it's just so easy to get caught up in it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally understand. Well, this is kind of a fun question I always like to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose one spot in your business to sprinkle in, everything would be perfect. Where would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. Um, the magic dust I think that I would sprinkle is honestly having um, our clients understand. And I don't want to blame this on the clients, and this is us. We need to be better, but and to understand how important it is for them to have a voice in their marketing,
Yep.
right? So we do that, and we have monthly meetings and different things like that with it. Um, but they're boots on the ground, right?
Hmm.
So like we like if at all possible, and they have a location, I like to go in and talk to the people because what the receptionist says is going to be very different from what somebody in the back from their salespeople from those different things. So I think it's just a matter of and trusting the process, right? So I think that it's a lot of times when we talk to business owners and we take a deep dive, to be honest, things have changed in their business. And I'm like, well, that's not what your website says, or that's not what your marketing materials say. And they're like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, but they've gone and changed things. Okay, well, then let's make sure that we get it shored up. And then they'll be like, but they're so busy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think, and that applies for me too, right? Like we talked about that. So I think, but things like this help, right? Like when we go out and we say, hey, let's, what can we do to make our businesses better? And that part of it is, again, letting the people know, or like I said, I went out and identified right away what I can't or don't want to do, and
Yeah.
then replaced, found help there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's a
Well,
good question. I don't know if I've given that a lot of thought. So you put
yeah,
me
no, I
out
always
there.
like to ask it. It's a really fun one because I think it really kind of lets people know like, oh, hey, this is the thing that like I definitely want to see improve, you know. So it's always a fun one to ask.
Yeah. If I
Um,
had a second one on that, I'd say never ever set it and forget it.
yeah, yeah,
Right? I mean, imagine if Google said it when they started. If Google would have said it and forget it and never, and never changed their algorithms and what they do and all of this, we wouldn't be sitting here, right?
yep, exactly. All right. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, would you like to share with our audience how they can follow you, learn more, contact you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. All of it is Moxie360 Marketing. Um, we do not have X or TikTok. Sorry, it's just it's not really genres for us. But of course, anybody can call me at my number's on the website, moxie360marketing.com. And reach out, follow, reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn. One of the things that I also want folks to know is that every single one of us, me included, get emails every single day that say, oh, your website isn't performing, or your Google business profile isn't up to speed, or insert, all of
Yeah.
these things. We do a digital analysis for people for free. Um, and so what we do is we take a look at it and we say, here's how you are performing with the search engines. Here's how you're performing with AI, which is kind of
Yeah.
really fun and new because up to 50% of searches are being done with, the AI, the large language models now. And we take a look and we say, and here's how you are, how you rank against your competitors. And then the only thing we ask in return is that people give us, 20, 30 minutes of their time to go over the results.
Hmm.
And, there's plenty of times I'm like, hey, you're doing fantastic. Keep it up,
Yeah.
you know? And then there's other times where I'm like, well, you know what, you're not compliant here, you're not, there. It's not a heavy sales pitch. It's literally like, here's where you rank. Um, and then we go from there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring to me today is honestly my relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
yeah, it's always been there. And I think I know for many years when I first started the business, I kind of kept it at like church and state, right?
Hmm.
But in 2025, I really leaned in and have just been leading with that, and amazing things are happening. The right people are getting connected, all of the things that are happening. The right people are coming on the team, and so we're just following that lead.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually have this bracelet that says frog, which stands for fully rely on God. My
Oh, I
sister got it
love
for me
that.
for Christmas and or Christmas in 2024, and I haven't taken it off since, so I pretty much always have it on my wrist. So
I love
definitely love
that.
that answer.
I do. I
Um,
love it. And I mean, I just think that um, you know, most people have a higher being that they have, some faith in. And when when we fully rely on God, or when we give it to God, or when we, insert all of these different things. But, I have right here, if I'm having a bad day,
yep,
right here.
exactly.
Sometimes I have to read it 3 or 4 times. And I've read through this thing so many times, and I'll remember it from like the year before and be like, I remember when I was what I was feeling. And now when I read this on this day, it means something different. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed getting to hear your story. So thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back to watch it again because Trisha really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Trisha, for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, and I will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.